session, and I'd like to have Mr. Miller report.
Thank you. We concluded 2 closed sessions, and there were no reportable actions taken that require reporting out.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to continue with public comment, and next on the list is Ms. Lenny Schultz. And Ms. Schultz, we policy have 3 minutes for public speaking, and the deputy secretary will hold up the time for 30 seconds remaining.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm Lenny Schultz, the co-chair of the Granada Parks Committee and of the Burnham Strip Committee. It's been a long time since I've been in front of you. About 12 years ago, the Burnham Strip, this is a rerun of the Burnham Strip. Hi. And a few of you were here. And we almost gave away the Burnham Strip, privatized that. Thank God we didn't. So now the post office lot is the matter of concern here. And the Granada Sanitary District, through Measure G, just turned into a community services district tonight. So we have the ability to make parks. And I'm before you tonight to tell you that there's a really strong sentiment regarding this post office lot, the 2.5-acre parcel that's next to the post office with the gorgeous ocean view that's cherished by the land that was deeded to the Harbor District in 1953 for public enjoyment, I'm sure, just like they deeded the Burnham Strip to the Harbor District. So even though it's not really useful to the Harbor District, it's extremely important to the community, that 2.5 acres. And so what you do with it has everything to do with how the community will feel, and I know the community cares a lot about that. The GCSD is going to have a meeting on October the 9th, and they have a special, they're going to have a closed session, and I know that they're going to discuss the post office lot. And they're also going to have, that's a special meeting. And then they're going to have the regular meeting on October 16th, another closed session meeting regarding that property. So I just want to ask you, please, with all the public servant attitude or the desire to serve the public, everything you have within you, about that, please, please, please consider the highest and best use of this land, which I believe the Community Services District should acquire and does want to. I believe they're going to make an offer, so please wait, and I'm asking you to reject any other offers in the meantime for that 2.5-acre parcel until the Granada Community Services District has a chance to give you a bid on that property. And the decision we make here can affect the lives to come for many, many years, perpetuity. So please use your best judgment. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker in public comment is Mr. John Owen. Mr. Owen, in 3 minutes.
Well, this will take 2 minutes. Well, guys, you guys are really starting to treat us rudely. That's the public. I mean, y'all could have sat home with the Giants. You could have at least got us a radio to listen to or something if you're going to make us sit here for 2 hours. At the last meeting, 3 of you didn't show up. And apparently only 1 of you bothered to call in and tell people that you weren't going to come. And so the commissioners came and all that. That's cool. They get paid. But some of us took off from work early, fought through traffic, and with just a little bit of courtesy on the part of somebody, a couple somebodies in the district, I wouldn't have had to take work off early. That cost me money. Or maybe you think that's funny, but you don't care. Maybe you don't like me. But it is a problem that you treat people that way. You could have called Mr. Parvano and told him. It could have gotten published on the website, because I always check it before I come up to get any kind of agendas or stuff like that. None of you took the time to do that, apparently. Mr. Holsinger, I mean, it just never stops with you. If it isn't accusing us of waving knives in meetings, you're telling the editor of the review that you're out of town at a meeting, or out of county on business. when we've got pictures of you at a campaign event here in town. The same thing, Mr. Bernardo. At least you told the truth. You didn't try to make up some story. So at any rate, we are paying attention. We do expect better of you. And I hope maybe you'll consider my words. Thank you.
That concludes the public comment. Next on the agenda, staff recognition. Please.
Yes, Mr. President, I have two. Harbor Master Grindy, who obviously did not make it tonight here, asked me to pass these along to you. One is an appreciation of Pillow Point Harbor efforts and actions relating to the recent tenant appreciation event. He wanted to give particular recognition to Assistant Harbor Master and Chief Chef John Draper for his work in organizing and making that event a success, along with the rest of the crew. And so there will be recognitions placed in the staff personnel files. The second one, also from Mr. Grindy, concerns life-saving actions of staff at Oyster Point Marina. And this relates to an event on September 23rd when there was an individual who appears to have been involved with a car accident. The driver was in bad shape, and Assistant Harbor Master Charles White and Maintenance Specialist Jim Burlow responded and called the 911 authorities, and the individual was found unconscious but alive, and their quick action probably saved that person. So I wanted to make sure that you're aware of the crew at both of our facilities being on the scene. So that's what I have.
Good, thank you. And at this time, I'd like to thank Assistant Harbor Master John Draper and Assistant Harbor Master Rocky, that we appreciate your work and your dedication in providing first-class service to the district, and also in your professionalism in saving lives. So thank you. It's nice to see both of you.
Thank you.
Please.
Scott wanted me to pass on one more staff recognition
Okay.
to Suzanne Walker for her efforts during the coastal cleanup day for the beach cleanup. She represented the harbor this year's coastal cleanup day in conjunction with the Pacifica Beach Coalition, working in the Pillar Point area. So he wanted me to pass that on to you.
Great. Important stuff. Okay, next on the agenda is a consent calendar. There are 5 items on the consent calendar.
I'd like to pull 3 through 5 off consent.
3 through 5. So the minutes of meeting of September 3rd, minutes of meeting September 17th, and a minor amendment to special use permit for Maverick's Invitation.
And I would make a motion on item number 6 to approve.
And 7?
6
Second.
and 7.
Make that 6 and 7.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve items 6 and 7 of the consent calendar, and to remove items, to approve items 6 and 7. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Abstained. 6 and 7 is approved. And now we can go into consent calendar item number 3, minutes of meeting September 3rd. Commissioner Brennan.
So, on page 4, it says here, this is the 3rd paragraph from the bottom. Tucker stated that he is aware that the Fair Political Practice Committee have investigated a complaint regarding the district's membership with the California Maritime Infrastructure Bank Authority and found the complaint unwarranted and there was no conflict. Tucker stated he was contacted by the San Mateo County District Attorney's Office and was interviewed regarding his knowledge of CMIAB. At the conclusion of the interview, he was told that the report would be that there was no conflict of interest. I don't remember if that's what Commissioner Tucker said, but I do know that the district attorney does not report on conflict of interest. That would be the FPPC, so maybe he meant FPPC or maybe he said FPPC, but this would be incorrect here as stated. So I just wanted to point that out. And then the other thing I wanted to say about the minutes for both the 3rd as well as the 17th is that the reason that I'm not going to be voting in favor of the minutes is simply because they're incomplete and they don't reflect the position of public comments. So that's all I have on the minutes.
I'd like to say that as far as my remarks on page 4, the 3rd paragraph from the bottom, beginning with Tucker stated and ending with conflict of interest, to the best of my recollection, that's exactly what I said.
Mr. President, I'd move approval of the minutes of September 3, 2014. I'll take them one at a time.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from September 3rd. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed?
Abstained? The minutes have been approved from September 3rd.
Mr. President, I would move approval of the minutes of the meeting of September 17, 2014.
Okay, we have a motion. Any discussion? Or we need a second, sir. I will second them. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from September 17th. All those in favor indicate by
Excuse
saying
me,
aye.
Mr. President, just in the interest of thirds, could you mind a roll call vote, please?
Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Bernardo?
I'm sorry, for which one?
Item number 4.
So, yeah, the 17th.
I abstained from the 17th because I was not at that meeting.
Commissioner Brennan?
Aye.
Commissioner Holsinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker?
I'll abstain.
President Farrelletto?
Aye. So the motion carries.
That was 3 ayes, if I heard that correctly.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Brendan, item number 5.
I got a couple calls from the public about this item and just wondered if we could get a little bit of information from the general manager about what the changes are.
This change only refers to the changing of the event window. In the past, it's been November 1 start, and they requested a change to January 1st. And so that will affect the dates for an application fee, permit fee. And that's all they're doing.
So they're narrowing the contest window?
That's correct.
And so the contest window will be January 1st through March 31st.
That's right. Background, power 1, line 3.
Okay, thank you.
Move approval as of item 5 as set forth in the staff recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of item number 5. Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Roll call. It's a financial matter too.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bernardo?
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan?
Aye.
Commissioner Holsinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker?
Aye.
President Farrelletto?
Aye. Okay, item number 5 is approved. We did 6 and 7.
We haven't done 6 yet. Oh, excuse me, we did. Excuse me, I apologize.
And then
All right.
item number 8, approval award of contract to independent outside investigator, and I have a public comment speaker list from Mr. Olam.
Now, this is about the court action. And this is so incredibly dumb that I'm just seriously. Apparently, your finance director is accusing Mr. Grinnell and the four of you of not making her do something. Apparently, she expects you to make Ms. Brennan vote for bills and claims and make her go over to the Harbor District to look at the bills and claims. So I think you should probably vote to no. Don't do any investigation. You've already done an investigation. The investigation is complete, and if your finance director doesn't like that, let her sue. Because this is ridiculous. This just keeps dragging on and on and on. Investigation after investigation. Investigations of investigations. This is ridiculous. You all need to really think about how you're going to act this. If you are going to hire an investigator, it would be interesting to hear you describe how it was this recommendation came about. I'm aware of other attorneys being recommended by members of the Harbor District that had connection to members of the Harbor District, Mr. Grinnell in this case. So you possibly would want to ask a few questions about where the recommendation came from. And last, the investigator needs to know that I went over to the office one day. I was invited there. And I wasn't there for 5 minutes before I was in a room with 2 women. They were really angry at me. Ms. Galazar, I can't say it, Galazar, actually accused me of harassing her and was going to file charges against me. It's pretty easy to get filed charges on Ms. Galarza. And if anybody, I hate to say this because it's so stupid, but if you remember that day when I was there, you tried to explain her behavior and you wrote it off to her being Italian. Now, I don't think that anybody should get sued for that, or an investigation be started against Ms. Harris for blaming Ms. Galazar's unprofessional treatment of me on her heritage, but that's what happened. So that's the kind of person you're dealing with. Don't waste any more money on this. Move on. If she wants to take you to court, go to court. Thank you.
Again, Mr. Miller, please introduce this.
Yes, you have a memorandum from Arlene Kachalia, District's outside counsel. She's present to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the commissioners? What is the
Make a motion.
pleasure of the
Mr.
commission?
President, I would move to approve the award of a contract to independent outside investigator and authorize the board president to sign the contract on behalf of the district.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item number 8, which is, says approve award of contract with independent outside investigator. Any further discussion, questions by Commissioner Bernardo?
Just have a comment on this item. I would just like to say that, I take all legal matters against the district seriously, and I'm gonna vote to support this because of 2 things. One is due diligence on the part of the district, and 2, for potential legal exposure to the district, and that's why I'm gonna support this item. Thank you.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Bernardo?
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan?
Abstaining.
Commissioner Holsinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker?
Aye.
President Carabana?
Aye. The motion carries. Item number 9, Public Records Act General Overview and Specific Update concerning district records pertaining to the California Maritime Infrastructure Authority. Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Commissioners. So you have received a memorandum from me that is in your agenda packet, along with a letter that I received from the San Mateo County DA. In the interest of time, I will just very briefly emphasize 3 points. The first is that, in my view, it is crucial that the district have good procedures in place to respond to requests from the Public Records Act. I've been working with your staff in this regard since I became your general counsel a few months ago, and we are beginning to implement and establish procedures that reflect best practices, there's a high volume of Public Records Act requests at the Harbor District, and your staff is to be commended for its willingness to bend over backwards to comply with the law and to adopt the procedures that I have recommended that the district adopt. Second, I wanted to emphasize my view, albeit as potentially a self-serving view, but it is not a self-serving view. It is my view that the procedures for responding to Public Records Act requests must include the advice of your general counsel as part of that process. And I thought I would give you just briefly a few of the types of legal questions that have arisen in my short tenure here already with regard to Public Records Act requests multiple times. Issues have come up as to what constitutes a record, as that word is defined by law. What exemptions apply to limit disclosure in order to protect privacy, confidentiality, and efficient government operations are legal issues. What timing requirements apply that allow the district to balance the rights of the public under the Public Records Act with the need to avoid chaos in administrative operations. And how do Public Records Act rules apply to requests to inspect records in person at the district offices as opposed to a request to receive written copies of district records. And so I hope you agree that there's value added by having your attorney participate in the process. And then third and finally, I wanted to share with you my view that the importance of these good procedures and of legal advice is highlighted by the recent experiences that we've had concerning a complaint made to the San Mateo County District Attorney concerning alleged violations of the Public Records Act. My memo provides the context, so I'm just going to reiterate the conclusions of my memo. The District Attorney's investigator assured me in a phone call that he was convinced that district staff had behaved appropriately in complying with the Public Records Act in responding to a request concerning district records concerning the California Maritime Infrastructure Authority. As an aside, I also want to note that the investigator told me, albeit informally, that although he had received many complaints regarding other aspects of the district's involvement in the CMIA, at the time of our conversation, he did not think that any of the other issues would lead to any detailed investigations, although he had not yet closed his investigation, and of course there was the potential for further communications and complaints to be made. And so with that, I will be happy to take any questions you may have.
Mr. President, rather than a question, I first want to note that we have a relatively small attendance of crowd here, the majority are candidates, so happy to have them here. But really, we have this proceeding televised, and I'd like to ask you, for the viewers that are not here present but are watching or will watch in the future, ask you to just simply suggest to them how they can best present their Public Records Act requests and what they can expect from the district in light of the new policies you're helping to establish and responding to them. Can you please do that?
So under the Public Records Act, there is no obligation on members of the public to frame their requests in any particular fashion. There are no magic words that are required. The public, generally speaking, subject to the procedures and exemptions in the Act, have rights both in the Act as well as in our Constitution, the California Constitution, to receive copies of public records. The obligation is on the district and district staff to work cooperatively to help members of the public frame their requests in ways that are understandable if the staff does not understand it at first, or if there are ways to reframe a request that might be more helpful, but that is an obligation of district staff. There are no obligations on the public to limit their rights to district records.
And when they do make a request, what can they expect in terms of a response from the district?
Sure. So when you make a request for public records, the Public Records Act requires the district within 10 days to respond as to whether that request seeks public records. It's not 10 days to provide the records. It's a request. It's within 10 days to determine whether the request seeks disclosable public records. Depending on the nature of the request and the effort required to make that determination, the district may require an additional 14 days to respond if it needs that time, again, in order to make the initial determination as to whether the request seeks public records. Having made that, the district then is required to respond within that time as to whether the request seeks public records. If so, whether any exemptions apply that would limit or prevent disclosure, and if not, when and how those records will be provided. The Act does not set specific deadlines for the actual production of the documents. That is left to a rule of reason and reasonability for the agency to provide, but that is not an opportunity for stalling. There's an obligation to provide the records as promptly as possible under the circumstances that exist at a particular time.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you for the updated report. Item number 10. Public notice to solicit construction bid for the Maverick Trail Phase 1 of the culvert repairs. Agenda Manager Brunel?
Yes, we're pleased to bring this to you for consideration and action. I should say at the outset that Craig Lewis from our engineering firm, SMCHD, is present tonight and will be able to answer any questions you might have for him. Just very quickly, what this calls for is to approve the plans and specifications for Phase 1 repairs of the West or Maverick Trail at Pillar Point Harbor, and authorize me to issue a public bid notice to solicit construction bids for those repairs. It's important to recall that the physical condition of the trail is as follows. There is a particular section that needs immediate repairs, and we had contacted the Coastal Commission some time ago seeking an emergency permit. And they said, well, we can't do that, but we can expedite a permit for you based on certain conditions and things. Further discussion led to the Coastal Commission staff agreeing to split the project into 2 phases. Usually they don't like to sequence them like that, but under the understanding we have with them, which I will describe, they went with that. And so we have Phase 1 repairs for which staff is recommending approval to go to bid so we can get on with that, keep the trail open. Concurrently, and this is the key point, concurrently, staff will continue to prepare a Phase 2 permit application to the Coastal Commission and the other concerned permit agencies for the balance of the project. And the balance of the project will consist of general improvements to the entire trail alignment. For those who aren't that familiar with it, it is an unpaved trail. We intend to keep it unpaved. And we are well aware that there are plenty of treatments that can be safe and also ADA compliant for wheelchair riders, and you don't need to pave it. So that's component number 1 of the whole thing. Component number 2 will be to replace the existing portable toilets with a new modular restroom facility, again ADA compliant. And then thirdly, improvements to the vehicle parking lot, similar in concept to what we would do with the trail alignment. Namely, we would not pave it, wouldn't need to pave it. There are ways that you can improve it, keep it from deteriorating quickly, overuse, while not requiring pavement. One last item on this is that for the restroom and for the trail alignment, possibly even the parking lot, we'll be applying for grants. Wildlife Conservation Board for the restroom, Coastal Conservancy for the access grant. And so we anticipate that we ought to be able to get some funding to reduce the potential cost of that. So that phase 2 application will be going in over, sometime in the next few months. So that's basically the project. One last thing, on Saturday, a couple of days from now, we will be having a public update meeting, which will be at the Comfort Inn, the Harbor Room, from 11 to 1. And again, we will have video there as well. Purpose is to update the public in more detail of what I've just described. And GHD will be with us, and we hope to answer any questions that the public may have.
What was the date of that again?
October 4th. This Saturday.
Okay, so we are looking at issuing a public notice for bids.
Correct.
That's what we're doing. Okay, what's the pleasure of the commission?
So moved.
I make a motion to,
We already have a motion, we need a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to solicit construction bid for the West Trail and phase 1 of the culvert repairs. Any further discussion? Comments?
What was the time of the meeting on October 4th?
Clear vote.
11 a.m.
Commissioner Bernardo?
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan?
Aye.
Commissioner Holsinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker?
Aye.
President Maravona?
Aye. Item number 11, a request for proposal to provide commercial property appraisal, lease valuation, and market survey services for the Oyster Point Bait and Tackle, the Catch Joanne Restaurant and Harbor Bar. General Manager, you're now.
Yes. This is exactly what it says. We consider it necessary to update our information concerning marketability and value of these two properties and leaseholds. Again, very briefly, we're talking about the former Oyster Point Bait and Tackle Shop, which closed down and went into bankruptcy. We have terminated that lease and have regained full possession of the premises. And so we would be updating our valuation information. Staff would then prepare new lease terms and conditions for consideration by the commission. And then given a go-ahead there, we would be seeking to put out a public notice for bids to obtain a new lessee. One other step in between there, we will again need a Division of Boating and Waterways approval for our public notice and basic lease terms. So that's item number 1. Item number 2, Catch Joanne Restaurant and Harbor Bar lease has recently expired. It's proceeding on a month-to-month pursuant to lease terms, but we will need to put that one out to bid again pursuant to Section 72 of the Harbors and Navigation Code. And prior to that, we also want to update our valuation information on that leasehold. And so with your approval tonight, we would immediately seek to find a firm or firms possibly to carry out the work. Issuing the RFP, we will get proposals in, and then we will come back to the board for final action.
I have a question.
Commissioner Brennan.
So, I just want to make sure I understand this. In the past, this type of work has seemed to have always been done by Dorenbush, right?
No,
And Associates? Or
no, it
this is
has not
different?
always been done by Dornbush.
Oh, okay, so there's been a couple of different firms that have done it. So, unlike other times, this one's gonna go out to bid, so there's gonna be an RFP.
Yes.
Okay. And, what did you say the turnaround was for, when are you gonna put the deadline for responses?
I can't recall. I'll look it up.
There's October 27th is what your RFP.
You have it there?
Yeah.
What's in your RFP?
Yeah, here it is.
Page 11.
Quite right, Tuesday, October 27th.
October 27th. And what process, are we gonna use for, making this RFP publicly noticeable? How are we gonna reach out to people to let them know about it?
The usual ways, we put it on the website and publish a notice in newspapers.
So there'll be a notice in newspapers. Okay, because I've gotten some
Just to refrigerate.
input from some consultants that they haven't been able to find our RFPs, and they feel like they're not being properly noticed. So I'm wondering if maybe there's a website or somewhere where people go to look for RFPs that we might not be utilizing.
For this kind of thing, I don't know. I know in construction, there are a couple of places people can go. But the information you give me, I can't respond to because I have no idea what you're referring to.
So could the staff like look at broadening our outreach so that we get more, more interest, so that we get the best possible opportunities?
Well, I don't know. The last RFP we put out, we got 6 proposals in.
I'm just suggesting that maybe. Okay, thank you.
Move approval of the item as presented.
Do you have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second to approve item number 11. Any questions? I have one question, Peter, is once this information is received, the market value of the appraisal, then that is used in negotiations?
No. Let me clarify here. That information will be available to you on the commission to consider when we present you new lease terms that we would propose as the basis for seeking bids. Now, on the issue of negotiations, Section 72.2 requires an ad call for proposals. Section 72 calls for bids. Why we would use Section 72 is because both of these premises actually have a structure on it, which would comply with 72. Now, if, in the case of the Oyster Point Bait and Tackle premises, the commission decides, and we would be providing you information to enable you to make a decision one way or the other. If you decide that you want to remove the existing somewhat deteriorated modular structure on there and just seek a lessee for the land, nothing else, then we would use 72.2 on that and seek proposals. So we could actually end up doing bids in one case and proposals in the other. It remains to be seen, but we would give you all of that information.
So 72.2 is proposals
Correct.
versus bids?
Correct.
Okay, thanks for the explanation. If we have roll call, please.
Commissioner Romero?
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan?
Aye.
Commissioner Holsinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker?
Aye.
President Fairwell?
Aye. Thank you. Item number 12, the transit border rate special for Oyster Point Marina. You want to take this?
Yes, yeah, I'll stand in for Harbor Master Grindy, who prepared this. This item is part of a growing strategy that we're working on to some extent in partnership with the City of South San Francisco to seek to make Oyster Point Marina Park more of a destination for all the obvious reasons in terms of the greater public use of the facility and public good, more revenue generation, and so on. And what this item attempts to do is to attract voters for special events such as may occur from time to time at Oyster Point. And basically, it's a 2-for-1 kind of bargain. And the idea would be that it would, if it works, attract boaters who would come in to participate, enjoy the special event, and bring their boats and potentially even become a future occupant. So that's what the purpose is.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the commission?
I have a question.
Please.
So here it talks about the 4th of July, which I understand there's this year, for the first time, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, there's going to be a fireworks show at Oyster Point, is that?
We anticipate that to be the case, yes.
Okay, so that's in planning, and
Yes, it
that's
is.
something the city is planning?
We are planning that with the assistance of the city. The FAA has approved it, so that was the big hurdle.
Okay, so here it talks about how this 2 nights for the price of one thing would be helpful, but I don't quite understand it. Can you explain how, because obviously a lot of people will want to come for a fireworks show. Would this, on events that are that popular, would we charge extra or charge less?
Well, if we're offering this, you're basically charging less because you're trying to attract more people. And again, the fireworks show is just one of any number of possible events. It could be, for example, we have the upcoming kite flying for the 2nd year. There may be folks who might want to come in for that. You know.
Okay, well, I have a question, like, as a business person, it seems like if there's a time when it's more attractive because there's an event, that would be a time when we actually might want to consider raising our rates, not offering a second night free. And then when there's nothing going on and there's nothing attractive, no reason to be there, other than just to be there, that would make sense at those times to offer a second night free. That's just my overview of the way that I would.
But we have district rates and fees that we have to abide by, so I don't think that we would be allowed to do that unless we change the rates and fees.
Plus you're at the point where you want to grow the event, so you want to attract people there. And early on, it costs you a little bit to grow the event, but once you grow the event, then you have control of it.
Well, fireworks shows are infinitely popular, so I don't think we're going to have any problem attracting a huge crowd for a fireworks show. It just doesn't seem like we should be giving people a free night for a fireworks type event. So my gut feeling is that unless somebody can make a really good argument, and I haven't heard one yet, for why we should charge less for a fireworks event, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
So,
And I haven't given this a lot of consideration, so I'm open to understanding it differently.
if I may seek to understand your comment, Commissioner, you see an issue with the fireworks show, but not other events.
Well, I think the fireworks show is going to be super popular, whereas maybe some of the other events, it might, and it also might be a good way to test it out too. But for a fireworks show, I don't think that we are going to have any problem filling up for that type of event.
Mr. President.
Could we have a motion?
I would, on item number 12, I would move to approve items 1 and 2 under item section.
Second.
So I'd like to amend the motion.
Okay, wait a minute, just a sec. We have a motion and a second to approve item number 12. Under discussion, questions?
How about discussion?
Yeah, discussion,
Yes.
yes.
I would simply note that the fireworks event specifically, or the kite festival, or the Easter egg hunt, or whatever event we have at Oyster Point Marina, happens on a particular day or evening. Enticing boaters from out of the area to stay 2 days for the price of one night, they're going to want to be there for that one day when the event occurs, or that one evening when the event occurs. Offering them a second night for free is a way to have them stay and spend money in the local area, is a way to have them stay and support the yacht club, is a way to have them stay and find out the other things that we have at Oyster Point Marina that may want to bring them back at regular times of the year when there is no special event. So I agree with what the general manager has said. We first have to start out with promoting the event and getting the people there. And then once we see what kind of demand there is and we see how popular it is, then we may want to consider changing our rates and fee schedule, but that's another process that we have to go through at that time. Right now, we're simply trying to encourage people to come there for those special events and give our staff the discretion as to when that occurs. So I strongly favor the motion.
That's correct.
Commissioner Burnett.
I strongly agree with that, because the way I look at this is an incentive. It's a marketing tool,
Right.
and incentives generally give the person a break. I mean, that's what this is about, so that they do come back, and for all the reasons that Commissioner Holzinger said, that's why I'm going to support this item.
Do you have any other questions, comments?
I have a couple. So I appreciate that input from the other commissioners, and while I don't think we need to incentivize the 4th of July weekend, especially if there's going to be a fireworks show at that location, because the other commissioners are passionate about this issue, I'm going to vote to support them.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bernardo?
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan?
Aye.
Commissioner Holzfinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker?
Aye.
President Caravano?
Aye. The motion carries, thank you. Item number 13, the biannual update of Harbor District Conflict of Interest Code. The general manager.
Yes. There is a typo that's been discovered.
Yes, so thank you, Mr. Mel. This is the biennial updating of your conflict of interest code, and I notice if you so choose to adopt this, I would request you do it with the following modification. In section 2.20.010, you'll notice towards the end of the first paragraph, there's a new language that currently says section blank and section 2.20.20 and 2.20.30. And so there's a blank there. It should read section 2.20.010 and then section 2.20.20. And then the final is the second typo, which instead of 2.20.30, it should say 2.20.40. So my suggestion would be, if you'd like, I'd be happy to explain that in more detail, but if you could just adopt the code with modifications to the specific code section numbers as coordinated with advice of counsel, that would probably be the simplest thing to do. It's an administrative, numerical.
So move the council's corrections.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the updated Harbor District Conflict Code with modifications expressed by our district council. Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bernardo?
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan?
Aye.
Commissioner Holzfinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker?
Aye.
President Caravano?
Aye. Motion carries. Item 15, the bills and claims.
You're skipping 14?
Oh, of course not. 14. I just didn't see the thing, okay. Item number 14, possible cancellation of Harbor Commission meetings on December 17th and or January 7th of 2015.
So move to cancel both meetings.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item number 14. Any comments, discussion, questions, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bernardo? Commissioner Brennan?
No.
Commissioner Holzfinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker?
Aye.
President Caravano?
Aye.
Mr. President, through the chair, Mr. Brunel, will the appropriate information come to the agenda to pass those bills and claims in that session?
Yeah.
That'll
Yes.
come later?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Now on item 15, bills and claims. Report from the treasurer.
Yes, Mr. President, I have reviewed the bills and claims, and they are in order for your approval and for payment in the amount of $378,855.76. And would so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve
I have a
the
question.
bills
or comment.
and claims for the period ending October 1st of 2014. Commissioner Brennan.
I
That's Grundy.
I guess two comments. I just wanted to point out that we do have a lot of heavy legal fees here. We've got Cox, Wooten, Lerner, Griffin, Hansen. Are they the law?
They're the maritime.
They're the maritime
Yeah.
law firm. So we've got about 1,500 there for Hansen Bridget. We've got about 9,000, and for LCW, which is Lambert Cassidy Whitmore, we've got 8,400, and we have another, 11,000 for our strategic planning firm, which, by the way, had a meeting last night at South San Francisco City Hall chambers. 3 of the commissioners were.
Okay, we're talking about bills and claims.
So just pointing that out. And then the last thing I wanted to say is just that I will be voting no for bills and claims, specifically because my attorney has advised me that I cannot go to the Harbor District's administrative office. And I've asked the board for a PDF file of the bills and claims so I can review them in advance of the meeting. The board has voted not to allow me to review the bills and claims via PDF. So without reviewing them, I'm not comfortable voting for them. Thank you.
On the strategic plan, I think the project was approved for 250,000 or 300,000. So
Just 70.
Yeah, so that's all part of that.
Yeah.
So it's not, just wanted
Okay.
it's not anything additional.
Commissioner Bernardo?
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan?
No.
Commissioner Olsinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker?
Aye.
President Caravano?
Aye. The motion carries. Okay, staff reports. General Manager.
Yes, you have my written report. I'll take any questions on that. I do have a couple of other items for you very briefly. And they are as follows. First, since there has been interest expressed in this item, on the October 15th agenda, there will be an informational update on the fish unloading fee question.
Oh, I'm sorry, what was that date?
The next board meeting, October 15th. Now, a couple of other things. I was invited to participate in the Technical Advisory Committee for San Mateo County's Comprehensive Transportation Management Plan, which is underway. That plan, which covers Highway 1 and Highway 92 and the area around them, is an outgrowth and requirement of the county's Mid-Coast Local Coastal Plan update. And it is basically in parallel with the Plan Princeton effort, which you know about. So I wanted to alert you that this transportation management plan is underway. We'll be making them aware. Yes?
Are you our designated representative to the committee?
I think it would be useful. I can put an item on the agenda to formalize it, but they specifically invited me.
I think we need to take action.
Good. I will put that on the October 15th agenda. One moment, please. So there is that item. Then, for those who may be interested and able, tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. at the Oceano in Princeton, the Plan Princeton group will be back with another public meeting at which they will be presenting for comments, review, and questions from the public 3 alternative land use and zoning approaches that have emerged out of all of their efforts to date. And I'll I'll be present there to follow that. Again, just to make sure everyone's clear, Pillar Point Harbor proper is not actually within the planned Princeton area, but obviously there's overlap, and they're keeping track of what how our strategic plan is, and we're keeping track of theirs. So there's that. And then lastly, Saturday, October 18th, the second Oyster Point Kite Festival is going to be happening. So I wanted to just make sure you were all aware of those items. And that concludes my report.
Yeah, I'd like to make a point of clarification, just to be clear, in case there's any confusion here. I am also serving on the same technical advisory committee as the general manager is, and my role on that committee is as the representative for the Coastside Bicycle Coalition.
Director of Finance, we have a written report. And then item number 18. Ms. Harris, we have a report. Any questions?
I noticed that you got some info here regarding Wi-Fi, and it says installation complete at Pillar Point Harbor.
Oh, for Comcast. The Comcast installation was complete, so hopefully that means we can start expanding the couple things we want to do. We want to get Comcast internet to the harbor master's office, so we have something better than what we have now, and then along with that, we'll be able to boost up, eventually boost up the Wi-Fi. And we also signed the papers to get the Comcast installation at the Oyster Point harbor master's office, because they have the wacky system that we've had for 10 years there, but it's probably going to take them, I think, 60 to 90 days to get that Comcast in, and then we can start on the Wi-Fi for Oyster Point.
Great, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. The last report is operations, and the absence of Harbor Master Grindy, we have 2 assistant harbor masters. And I'd like to add anything to the report.
Go ahead. Just one item. Next Thursday is the tenant meet and greet, and that is from 5 to 7 p.m. And that is just informal. Come out, the barbecue, and meet and greet the tenants and whichever commissioners are there.
Who will be the chef at that event?
Are you volunteering?
No, we have an individual that's received accolades for his past cooking. I was wondering if that same
It's got to
chef,
be him.
will he be at the same location at Oyster?
No,
He will
he's
not?
doing.
I'll be in Colorado.
We'll find a cook.
You were?
I'll be in Colorado.
Oh, I thought it said mom.
There's no albacore in Colorado.
Jeez, telling you.
Are you going to bring us something back?
We'll figure it out.
I hope so.
We'll get an apron. We'll help.
Yeah.
I'm sure the salmon won't be as good, but I don't go there in summer. What was the date again?
How do it?
Thursday, the
Next Thursday, 8th.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Mr. Draper.
The only thing I have to add to Scott's report is last Wednesday I held the tenant meeting at Oyster Point Yacht Club with the tenants of Pillar Point Harbor. The fishermen all came out. One of the big topics was the crab pot staging, which you heard one of the gentlemen talk about. There was never any discussion about totally getting away with it, but because the rates and fees did state that there was one way was a deposit, one way was a payment. And it hurt the guys that helped, or that followed the rules. We made some changes to this crab pot staging guidelines, which we're gonna bring to you next meeting to go over, and some recommendations we have. We're still letting them stage on the 15th, starting on the 15th at 8 a.m. To sign up, but they'll be coming to you next meeting.
Okay.
Three separate crab fishermen that I spoke with seemed to subscribe to your plan and called it your plan.
Yeah.
So you've met with all of them and they're pretty much on board.
Well, unfortunately, when you have a meeting like that, you're preaching to the choir. It's the people that show up at the meetings are the people that follow the rules. The ones that don't follow the rules never show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but the ones that did show up, most of them were fine with it.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just have one comment. So I wanted to thank you, John, for leading the tenants meeting. I just sat in for part of it, and it was a good meeting, and you actually had a great turnout there, and the outdoor was a good place to house it. And then I also had a question for Charles White. I see here that the ferry terminal is going to be used on the weekends. I don't know if that's already happened.
As far as I know, that's still in the process of a MOU. Refer to the general manager.
It'll go through our event policy process.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Are there any things we should know about how that might affect operations or harbor patrol or?
Not yet, but I don't see it any more than an event that we have here at the Marina.
Mr. President, I can add to what Charles is saying. In fact, there won't be any impact because this will relate to things that will be happening when there are no ferry operations at all. And in working with WETA and the city and we are very clear that WETA would enter into an agreement to do this sort of thing or allow this to happen, given that there would be no impacts.
So it sounds like it's still a ways out from getting finalized. But
I don't know what ways out means, but it will be happening soon.
oh, it will. Like in the next few months.
Next few months, yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, thanks for the reports. Item number 20, under the Board of Harbor Commissioners and Committee Reports. Item B, we have Commissioner Statements and Requests. Starting to my right, Commissioner Brennan.
Okay. So,
This is for public statements.
yeah. So I just wanted to remind the board that at the July 16th, 2014 meeting, two motions were approved, and one was to get a report from staff on at that time, ongoing fish fine fee audit conducted by JJA CPA Incorporated, and I would imagine that audit's probably completed by now, so it'd be great to get that report. And then also, there was an approval for a future agenda item regarding a separate, at that time, ongoing audit being conducted by Bush, I always mispronounce that, Bush consulting firm. And I had been hoping that these two items, which were approved by the board for reports, would get placed on an agenda. So I'm just commenting on that and hoping that will happen in the near future. And also wondering if those reports are completed, since it's been some time since since the motions were approved.
If I could answer that, Commissioner Brennan, in the general manager's report, he had stated that the October 15th meeting, those two items will be on the agenda.
But both of those items will be on the agenda? Oh, at the next meeting, okay, great, thank you. And then, that's it for me.
Commissioner Brennan.
I have just a tiny request, and it may seem odd, but if possible, and you don't have to do it just for me, but just to consider members of the community too, please try not to hold public meetings on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar, which is Yom Kippur on Saturday, when most Jewish people will be in synagogue all day fasting, not eating. So just something to consider, because I know that, it's easy to forget sometimes the different things, but it just something I want to say.
I admit that I did. forget it.
I'm just bringing it up.
Yeah.
It's not a reprimand or anything, I'm just saying, if possible in the
No,
future. Thank you.
it's totally to be taken into account, I agree.
Commissioner Tucker?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Greneau, can you refresh my memory as to hiring freeze? Do we still have a hiring freeze?
Yes, the hiring freeze was put into effect by the commission with no sunset date.
Fine. Do we have any kind of current employment list?
We have a couple of them. We are going to
We have a deputy harbor master.
start up a couple of new ones as well.
You lost me there. Do we have a current employment list of qualified candidates that could be hired should we decide to hire them?
For any particular position?
Harbor.
Yes,
And what list would that be?
deputy harbor master and.
Deputy harbor master and
Harbor worker.
harbor worker. And we have, I assume, several names on either list?
Yes.
Yes. Mhm.
Thank you.
Anything?
That this one I have, I still think item 2.
Commissioner Olsinger?
I have two items to comment upon. One, it's always refreshing to see people who have an interest in the Harbor District's business that stay all the way through a rather lengthy meeting. I want to acknowledge and thank Brian Rogers for being here and commenting upon Harbor District. I want to note that one of my opponents on the November ballot, Robert Grant, is here and has been here for the entire meeting, as well as another candidate, Kim Collins. The other matter I want to mention is frankly my disappointment and I guess I could say personal outrage at the innuendo and suggestion that I missed the last meeting without any advance notice to the district about my planned absence. That's been suggested and inferred. It's simply politics at its worst, and I'm sorry to see that interject itself into our Harbor District meetings. I found out that I had a matter that was going to make me miss the meeting out of the county, and indeed I notified the general manager Monday morning that I was going to miss it. Notwithstanding that, I went to the Harbor District office and reviewed the bills and claims because it was my understanding that there was going to be a quorum and the meeting was going to go forward. So I did all of what was expected of me. So I would also note that because of the politics and the press that came out of that, I made a point of checking my attendance record in relationship to the other commissioners. And I want to make it very clear that I have the best attendance record of any and all commissioners serving with me in the same periods of time. So the fact that on one occasion personal business made it impossible for me to attend at the beginning of the meeting is a matter of personal prerogative. I've seen commissioners come here, stand for the roll call, and then get up and leave for birthday parties. I haven't done that.
Okay, item 2 is for placing items on the future agenda. I'll start to my left, Commissioner Olsinger.
No request, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Tucker.
I have a request, Mr. President. Let me tell you my request first, and then I'll make the motion. I'd like to see us take another look at the hiring freeze we have, and in the same light, take a look at the possible employment of one or more individuals as a result if that freeze is lifted. So therefore, I move that the next agenda, middle of October, have a line item or an agenda item that calls for a discussion of the possible lifting of the hiring freeze and B of that AB, possible hiring of one or more individuals. I would so move.
I'll second.
Do we have a motion and a second to revisit the hiring freeze?
This is to put it on a future
Or, I'm
agenda.
sorry, to put it on a future agenda to revisit the hiring freeze.
Specifically, it was the October 15th meeting.
Yes.
On Monday,
Got it.
Any questions, discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bernardo?
Aye.
Commissioner Brennan? Aye. Commissioner Olsinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker?
Aye.
President Carolina?
Aye. So that'll be on October 15th. Commissioner Brennan?
Have none.
Commissioner Brennan?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to hire an executive search firm to help us with the hiring process of a new general manager.
So, just to make sure I'm understanding, your motion, I mean, this is the time to place that discussion of that item on the agenda.
Sorry, thank you, yeah, for a future agenda item. So this would be to place it on the next meeting agenda, because obviously we don't have a lot of time, since our general manager has sent us a letter informing the board that he plans to retire at the end of December 2014. So it is time sensitive. So the motion is to place on a future agenda, hiring an executive search firm. Is that the best way to articulate it?
Well, if I can help.
Yeah,
if you-
please help me.
So first, I did hear you say place on a future agenda, and also heard you say place on the next agenda.
Yeah.
But I would say
next.
you could agendize the discussion of hiring an executive search firm.
Exactly.
For the position of general
Agendize
manager.
discussing hiring an executive search firm, placed on the next agenda. Can I get a second?
There is no second, so the motion fails. Any other requests? Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
For the second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Roll call, sorry.
Commissioner Bernardo?